one of the stipulations was that for the evacuation to be called off the system. Cinco to be stabilized, the cabin to be stabilized, and the gas within the aquifer to be at or below hydrostatic pressure. What I'm hearing tonight is that this stipulation will change. Am I correct?
That is what is being presented by these scientists, some of which are members of the Blue Ribbon Commission. The Blue Ribbon Commission is the only entity that has been tasked to make that order or to make that call. So they have found something with MIPHT and all of the other tests that says there's a lot of gas at the shallow depths, but ultimately the BRC is going to be looking very closely at the results of this effort, and then they'll convene and ultimately have that responsibility to make that call. Individually, these individuals cannot make that call. The BRC can make that call.
Okay, this is Woodrow. Could you approach the mic, please, sir?
Sure.
Is Blue Ribbon Commission going to make this final call, or will you?
No, we have to make the final call. We are going to look for their recommendation, but no, we're going to have to ultimately, as Marty and I call.
Right. You're aware that the people that are evacuated right now have been evacuated for 13 months will not be wanting to come back to their homes, just like Mr. Gross said. They've been out of their homes for 13 months. They was afraid then. Now they got to come back to a place that's full of mold or whatever because nothing has been done to these homes for 13 months.
I'm aware of that, yes.
You're also prepared to get along. If you go against their recommendation, these people will probably sue you, but prepared to defend yourself in court in our parish.
I think we are.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I have a question, and I don't write this check, but I do cost analysis daily in my business. I cannot see this cost overall when you have to jump through hoops, get your permission and everybody's permission to do things. Don't you think the cost itself from the state, parish, and Texas, from everybody's standpoint, don't you think that a cost analysis should be done on everything that's being done and say to yourself, okay, is it cost effective for me to go in here and let's just say put this geoprobe in with nothing but the probe and what it does? Has anybody done any kind of cost analysis? I don't understand that.
And I'm unsure of that question, but I think
well,
from...
what it amounts to, when you deal with cost in anything, okay, if it costs you $10 to make $10.01, is that cost effective? No. But if it costs you $10 to turn 100 or get rid of your problem and all your obstacles, every person in this room is an obstacle. Everybody is an obstacle for everything you're doing.
Irregardless, the responsible party has a responsibility to protect the environment as well. So irregardless of those financial demands, they are still responsible to take care of what has happened and to mitigate all the circumstances that occur. So those costs are something they have to consider, but they still have the obligation to do it.
Right.
So based on that, what is the estimated cost of putting in these permanent shallow gas systems and running them for years versus buying the people out who want to go, giving them legitimate amounts and buy them out, and then that area you don't even have to do the shallow. You can go deep. The people who want to be on sportsmen that want to stay, give them the shallow system and take care of that. Most of the people now that have left don't plan on coming back.
Well, Nick, and I understand that, and I have no idea what the cost is, irregardless, they are responsible to mitigate the incident.
Well, as DNR should be looking at the fact that where's the best place to spend the money? You know,
And
the state right now can't get their money. The Assumption Parish is not getting.
I understand that, Nick, and we're gonna have, the parish is gonna seek reimbursement for its costs. And so, in doing that, the risks are still there, irregardless for the motoring public and everyone else. We're staying on task to make sure that the incident is mitigated. Dennis?
Okay. Maybe I missed something in the meeting, but a while back we were told it'd be a three-prong approach to relieving us of the gas. The shallow gas, the deeper gas in the aquifer, and then Don Marlin alluded to some deep gas at about 1,450 feet, maybe another pocket at 1,000 feet. Going after that 1,000-foot gas and that 1,450-foot gas, that is not a viable option right now? I mean, I don't know who wants to address that. Who wants it?
Is it viable? Certainly drilling 1,450-foot gas wells are viable. The problem you've got is even if we started drilling tomorrow and relieved that gas, there is so much gas in the aquifer you probably wouldn't even notice it.
Right. But shouldn't we be doing all three at one time?
All three is part of what we're looking at. Right now, we've got an idea on the first two. The third one, we literally just got Don Marlin's report a week ago. You're going to have to give us some time to digest that. But certainly that's one of the things that has to be considered now that we know about where that deep gas is, what can be done about it. Then you've got your three-pronged approach. The first two, I can show you maps, I can tell you how we're going to do it. The third one, you're going to have to give us some time to evaluate it and the best way to go after it. That's going to require some petroleum engineering. Dr. John Rogers Smith's the Blue Ribbon Commissioner, he's LSU, works in petroleum all the time. We've also got another LSU person who specializes in this, and they're going to be helping us with that kind of evaluation.
So that might be a possibility.
Yeah.
David?
Are there three sources or two? Deep sources?
Don?
There were three little red spots. And how much gas was down there? Or how much could they hold, I guess, is the right question.
Right now, there's two gas sources, one at 1,000 feet and one at 1,500 feet. There are other vents down there that appear to be gas, but they're not adjacent to this disturbance volume. So those that are likely, that are connected to this hydraulic pathway and have a chance to get into the aquifer or volatilize to the atmosphere are 1,500 feet and 1,000 feet.
How much do they hold?
One is,
Could they
one,
hold?
and you know, the numbers that I give you are basically on based on homogeneous saturation and porosity values of those reservoirs, and they're in the neighborhood of about 20 million cubic feet of gas
Equal
that you can see
combined.
total.
Don, do those units compare to the 45? Because the 45 million cubic feet of gas are standard cubic feet of gas. Or new units?
No, those are equivalent units
So they're equivalent.
in million cubic feet of gas.
When we talk gas, we're being very careful to always talk standard cubic feet, so you're not confusing people.
So where does the other 25 million come from?
I don't know.
With the other locations that, possible sources you're talking about, but they're not adjacent to the disturbed zone, if there continues to be tremors and so forth, is there a possibility that these tremors could open those other sources?
Will's going to have to answer that. He's our seismic expert. At this point, to be honest with you, we haven't looked at it. It's a very valid question. Do you have anything to add?
It basically depends on what pathways are down there and how far those gas units are away from the disturbed zone. Only by really analysing that can we say what the likelihood of those gas zones are for connecting into the disturbed rock zone. Just to also build on what Gary just said in his I don't know about where the gas came from. What you've also got to remember is that the disturbed rock zone has already eaten up, as it's come up through the geology, the rock strata. It's also eaten up volumes. So gas could have been in that rock that was liberated through the disturbed rock zone. The 3D seismic that happened before the 3D seismic was ever taken. So that gas could have been liberated up to the surface. So that's where some of that gas, that missing 25 million cubic feet actually could have come from.
So have you seen any other fissures in there where this gas can travel from any other distances outside of this parameter? Have you found any of that yet?
There are,
No fissures at all other than the rock surface?
when you say fissures, there's
I'm talking
deep,
about cracks and
yeah,
what
there's
have you.
deep faulting.
Right,
It doesn't
you
come
have
up to
that,
the
but-
surface, some of which attenuates in the neighborhood of like 2,000 and 3,000 feet, and it doesn't continue up to the surface. Then there's another set of faulting that seems to be prominent at about 1,500 feet to 2,000 feet, and propagates up to in the neighborhood of about 300 to 500 feet. But then that's where it terminates. But once you get down below the resolution of the seismic, there could be other fissures, if you say fractures, or other fracture systems, but it's below the resolution of the data set. Even though I say it's a great data set, it's still going to be below that resolution too.
But can it feed all of that?
It's bound to be there.
It's, yeah,
Yeah, that's possible. And you know, and that's why when we first came up with this geomechanical model, we were saying that this boundary that we were given at 600 feet was where the rock was moving down 3 feet. It's 1 meter displacement. Because this disturbance is actually gradational. It starts off being a high disturbance towards the salt dome, and then as you walk, if you like, walk away from the salt dome, you get out into finer and finer and finer disturbance. I mean, that's just something that we've got to really investigate and get a handle on.
One thing the Blue Ribbon Commission is doing, and I've got my commissioner hat on right here, a couple of the requirements, recommended requirements documents that were reviewed and sent to Texas Brine were to be able to collect specific data to be able to evaluate how much additional gas, if any, is coming up through the disturbed rock zone. And so those are already out there. The monitoring wells and everything that go in as part of that are being implemented right now. And so we don't know how much gas is coming up, but we do have a program in place to get the data we need to be able to evaluate that. Then we're going to have to start thinking, you know, where is it coming from? But the first thing, as I say, we're working shallow and down, mainly because the people live on the surface.
Dr. Eacock, I want to direct this to Marlon. How much distance are you showing when you had your 3D image up there when we're rotating it? How much distance are you finding between the wall of the cavern and the face of the salt dome? Is there a